You're listening to the Open Books Podcast.
Your next chapter starts now.
Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is she the one?
Hello and welcome back to the Open Books Podcast. We're so excited to dive into the book, The Troop by Nick Cutter with y'all today. I'm Amber.
And I'm Colby. Yes, we're so excited to dive into The Troop.
Unbelievable.
I know.
I
I'm already kind of forgetting, which is why I'm so glad we're here. I told you this earlier, but it's just so crazy how fast me as a reader will forget a book, even though I loved it so much.
And I think that's because we love to read and we just dive into the next book.
And you get so immersed
And
into
then
the
you
next
start
book.
getting connected to those characters.
Yes.
But for sure, like once you do your summary and we talk about the questions and stuff, it's going to come back to us. But it's really unforgettable.
100%. That's what I was about to say. This book, though, stuck with me. And I think it will forever. It's one of those books that I think will remain within me forever.
Oh, yeah.
I can count on, like, one hand books that, like, I'll always, like, refer or think back to. This is one of them.
And I think your other one is Then She Was Gone.
It is. And then also My Dark Vanessa. I probably talked about that
I
one a
need to
couple.
read that book. You know,
You
I've
really
never
do.
read it.
You have to. It's one of those that you're, like, it's life-changing.
Never read My Dark Vanessa.
You have to read it. Well,
Okay.
what's next?
Good news. Do you have any good news?
Okay. Two things. Christmas 2023 wrap-up, because our last episode we talked about all holiday experiences, holiday traditions. So I wanted to follow up on what our
Oh.
holiday was like.
Yes, as we should.
So mine went really well. My Christmas Eve party went really well that I had at my house. I did do a much better job. I remember I talked about not being like a clean freak the whole time and like going up behind people and like
Yes.
sweeping at their feet.
Picking up their drinks.
I was mindful of it and I did a good job. I did stay up very late Christmas Eve because, well, one, the children, we had to like be Santa Claus.
Oh, that's so much fun.
It is so fun. We had to build like a kitchen. And Matt, like when we pulled it out, you know, it's like 10 million pieces
Of
of like
course.
wood. And Matt was like, I don't think this is happening. And I was like, yes,
What do
it
you
is.
mean?
Like, it's Santa Claus. Like,
What do you mean?
get over it. And you know, it really didn't end up taking that long. It was like an hour. But while he put up the kitchen, I like cleaned after the party. So I waited during the party. I told myself, everyone's going to leave here at one point. Just clean when they leave. So that's what I did. So I would say we went to sleep at like 1 a.m., which really wasn't that bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
For Santa Claus. Santa needs his sleep too.
Santa needs his sleep. I loved seeing everyone's Santa pictures.
Me
Like
too.
parents playing Santa. I
Yeah.
think it's sweet.
It's honestly so much fun to like see Christmas through the eyes of children. Glorious, glorious.
Yes.
And then my other good news is that New Year's Eve,
Oh.
I am doing nothing. You too?
Same.
I'm so excited to do nothing. Well, I'm going to my mom's house, which is doing nothing because when I'm at my mother's house, I just retreat into a child again
Absolutely.
where
It's the
she
best
takes care of
feeling.
me. Yeah. Like the children are her. My children are her
Her
children,
children
Yeah,
now.
like they're
You
yours.
all become the children.
Right. We're all the children. So I'm going there and we're just going to like have a very low key night. What
I
about
love
you?
that. Christmas and Christmas Eve were lovely. Christmas Eve we go to my mom's house and we do presents and we played Dirty Santa this year. And something that we are so terrible at, just like as a family unit, are
Mhm.
taking pictures.
Yes.
Pictures together, pictures with my grandparents. Like we're just horrible at that. So I was like, I'm gonna be that person that is in charge of the photos.
You took on the challenge.
I took on the challenge, and it was just so nice the next day to look back at the pictures. Like, I don't know, like my mom and dad took pictures together, and
Aw.
they're not like, let's take selfies. Like they're not picture people, and
Right.
whatever, you know.
Mhm.
But I made sure to get pictures of them together, and it was just so sweet.
That's so important. I'm so glad you did that.
It really is. And then Christmas Day, we went to Josh's parents' house, and it was nice. It was very low key.
Mhm.
And then I, as you can tell, started to fall under the weather again, but
You fell ill.
I fell ill. I was struck with what the doctor said is an upper respiratory infection.
Interesting.
Interesting. I've got my eye on you. So whatever. And then for New Year's Eve, I say I'm also doing nothing,
Mhm.
but I do think we're just gonna like go over to Millie's house,
Yeah.
order takeout, and
It's
just like
still a low key night.
watch the fireworks. Like there's no glitz and glam tonight, and honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way.
That's how I feel too. Something about New Year's Eve gives me like the heebie-jeebies. I don't know what it is. I used to be all about it, like in my youth.
When you were
in my
in your youth.
in my youth.
In your youth.
Me at the ripe age of 27.
And you know, I feel like if I am remembering correctly,
Mhm.
for a hot minute, like a couple years, like New Year's Eve was like the fires, like the
It was.
bonfires.
Oh yeah, it was.
Do you remember that
I
kind
do.
of phase?
That was like high schoolish times, right?
Yeah,
Like
and
this
I,
was a
like,
while ago.
Loved it.
Me too.
'Cause I
Let's
would,
bring
like-
that back because that is still kind of low key.
Wait,
Let's bring the
let's bring the fires back.
bring the
and
bonfires back.
everyone goes.
Yes, I love that idea because
And people bring their kids now.
that's perfect.
Wait.
And the kids can, do the little fireworks in the field, the little poppets, whatever the
and it's
children
just like
do.
a huge
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, or
I'm
gathered.
sure that could have like its problems, but
Yeah,
it could also be a really cool thing.
you know what comes to mind? Let's gather around the campfire and,
And
sing
sing
our
our
campfire
campfire
song.
songs.
Our CAMPFIRESONG songs. Love SpongeBob so much.
It's core memory.
It really is. So, that's really it. We're both being low key on New Year's, and we're both happy about it.
Yeah, you will not see us at Metro.
No.
Those memories on my Snapchat keep popping up. It's like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, at the club.
At the club.
That's what it is about New Year that gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's like I feel like it's like so much pressure to be out at the club so late, and it just like stresses me out.
I know, and it's not.
Maybe one day we'll circle back.
I'm sure we will, because
Mhm.
I think everything,
Mm.
circles back.
Comes back around.
And then we'll be sitting here like, no,
Yeah.
we're like going to the club. We have babysitters.
Right. We're in like metallic, sparkly mini skirts.
No doubt.
Okay, well, let's jump into our weekly report before we get into the troop.
Let's do it.
Lots to say in this weekly report. We're going to start with R for reading. So I have been reading, The Troop, of course, which we are going to deep dive into, but I also
Deep.
read Mystic River. I think I
Oh.
talked about briefly that I had started it, but I was pushed to finish it because at my Christmas Eve party, my nanny reminded me that there's a movie that matches. And I was like, oh,
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is what
Mhm.
you were talking
this
about.
is what I was texting you that you have to
Okay.
watch Mystic River.
So I
so-
need to read the book first?
Yes. Because the book really is so much better. And like, once again, where those
The
people.
book was better.
The book was better, but it really was. It was a really, really good story. Honestly, though, you know what? Just watch the movie because the book is kind of long.
How
and
long are we
like,
talking?
It's long. It took me a while to finish. I don't know because I did audiobook, so I don't know like how many pages.
Can you please get your nanny to help me with Libby?
Yes. Yes. Libby's on my weekly report because we have to discuss.
Well, then I'll save that part for when we get to Libby.
But I finished Mystic River, watched the movie, so that was a fun experience. I had to rent the movie on Apple TV for like $2.
Scam.
I know. It's like just put it on Netflix.
Put everything on Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah, we don't need to be having all these different platforms or you have to rent movies. Just
Or
give us all one.
everyone just like have a big meeting, a board meeting, and
Mhm.
everyone buy into each other,
Right.
which I feel like they do already.
I
Like
was gonna
Hulu
say
and
I feel like
Disney,
so much of them are owned by the same entity anyway. So why it's a money grab.
it is a money grab. It all
Okay,
comes
what are
down to money.
you? It really does. Reading.
Stupid. Okay, so I've been reading The Troop,
Yes.
obviously. Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid is a very short novella. I don't want to give too much away because it's literally like a 40-minute read, and if I say too much, I've told you the entire plot. But judging by its title, there was evidence of the affair, and it was really good.
Really?
Really good. Like, honestly, y'all, I highly recommend it.
Okay, she's the same author of Evelyn Hugo, right?
Yes, and I
Okay.
think the way she tells like a romance, a love story is beautiful, and it's not like full of smut. And
It's about the actual love.
it's about the love,
the relationship, the depths of their relationship.
Yeah, it's about the connection.
Yeah.
The emotional connections, and I appreciate that. And
I appreciate that.
don't
too.
come for me, smut lovers. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Sometimes there's more to storytelling than the smut.
I feel the exact same way because I'm down for a romance. I just can't when it just gets too cringy, too smutty, and it's all the sex just takes over the plot. I want to know.
Thank you.
I want to get deep.
Yes, I don't care that much about the smut.
There, we said it.
There, I said it.
I think
I've been carrying the weight of that. How much smut is too much smut?
It's too much.
It's just too much.
Okay, so that's going to be on my list too. I love a little short novella.
Honestly, read it because I want to know how you feel about it.
Okay, definitely. Next would be eating. So I am going to drop the Reese's this time. I'm kind of over the Reese's, honestly.
Sponsor her. Oh, just kidding.
No, still sponsor me. I'm only over them because I've just ate so many over this holiday season
Mhm.
that I'm ready to move on. So I'm gonna just highlight here tacos.
Oh,
Like just a good,
can you elaborate?
a good at-home taco night. Like ground meat, shredded lettuce, shredded cheese, some sour
Yeah.
cream, some mild sauce. I don't know why I said shredded lettuce because I do not eat lettuce on my taco. I'm really a meat
But
and
you
cheese
know
girl.
that it's on like the little buffet of
Right.
like how to make your taco.
Mhm. It's on the line of different
Some people like
toppings.
it.
Right.
Toppings.
So I just love a good at-home taco night. We do it probably once a week, really.
Really?
Yeah.
On Tuesdays or
It's
is
pretty
that-
much on Tuesdays. Yeah, we're
Taco
like
Tuesday?
Taco Tuesday. So that's what I'm eating, tacos. I just wanted to like shout out the taco girlies, especially if you're like me and you just like meat and cheese only.
meat and cheese only?
Yeah. Well, now
I'm
I
a
have.
supreme girl.
Ooh, you like it all?
Duh. I like it.
She likes it.
all.
I think she likes it.
I
all.
think she likes it all. Like sour cream on top too.
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
Mm.
hot
You like shredded
sauce.
lettuce too?
Yes.
Some hot sauce.
Some hot sauce on top.
I do now like sour cream and mild sauce.
I'm so proud of you because aren't you just a ranch girl?
Yes. I'm literally just.
Does she put ranch on her taco?
I'm just a ranch girl. Like it's all I like.
She likes what she likes.
So what are you eating?
Leftovers, plain and simple. Like
Such a
I'm
good answer.
still eating spinach dip from Christmas Eve, which is like a week old, and I'm still eating it.
We gotta capitalize on all the food that we have at these Christmas parties.
Absolutely.
It's like so crazy how much goes to waste, really. So I'm really proud of you for
Thank you.
being the person to eat the leftovers.
Also, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I hate eating leftovers.
no,
Hate it.
I was about to say that too.
It
Like
almost grosses me out.
I know, but you're just doing it because like you're doing the Lord's work.
I'm doing the Lord's work, and I know it's right.
You're doing the right thing.
I know it's right, but it
Amber, sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing to
is
do.
the right thing to do. I don't know, something about thinking about food that's been sitting
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in its container, and now I won't eat that spinach dip because I've grossed myself out.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Okay, next would be playing. So, what I'm playing right now is I started this TV show on Netflix called School Spirits. Have you seen it?
no, I've actually never even heard of it.
Okay, it's cute. I saw it on TikTok. Like everybody says the ending is crazy, but it's like this girl, she's in high school and she's murdered and her like spirit or her soul is trapped at the high school.
Lies. It's on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, it did pop up on my like recommended for you.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
she's
so lying.
she's got blonde hair.
Yes.
She's
okay.
actually I realized that I'm like this girl looks so familiar. She's like a Disney Channel child star. She was on what's that Debbie Ryan show?
Oh my gosh. I keep want to say hey
With
Jessie.
Hey Jessie.
Hey Jessie.
Ooh, yeah, that's what the
Hey,
show called,
Jessie.
right?
Yeah.
Hey Jessie. Okay, so she's one of the little rich girls from Hey Jessie. Anyway, she dies at the school and like her spirit's there and she's trying to like solve her murder. So
Her own murder.
Her own murder.
And
yeah.
she teams up with the other spirits at the school.
Yeah, because there's like a bunch of like
Okay.
dead kids there.
I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Hit me. What is like? How are you able to fit in watching these shows? Like, what is your watching schedule?
Okay. Now that I have 2 children, I don't ever just like sit down and watch a show.
Right.
I constantly have my AirPod in.
Got it.
And it is a point of contention within my household when Matt's home because he's like, take your AirPod out, bitch, and be present. And I'm like, I have things to watch and I don't have time.
Because I feel like you're so good at consuming content, and I'm
Mhm.
like, how in the world do you manage
Mhm.
to do all of
That's
this?
how it's a multitasking
Got it.
job. So like if I'm washing dishes, I have my AirPod in and I'm either
and you
like,
got something on.
yeah. Sometimes I'll even like won't be watching it, but I'll just have my AirPod in. Like the phone with the show on might be in the other room, but I'm
you're
still like
listening to it.
listening to it. Yeah. So that's how I do it.
Got
Like if I'm
it.
playing with the kids, like I'll have it in and like secretly be watching. So that's how I do
I
it.
think I might try that.
Do it.
Because in my world right now, when I'm consuming content, I'm sitting on the couch doing it.
Right.
Which is why I don't consume as much because I'm like, I have to go out and I have to do things.
Right. And so if you're only consuming content when you have the chance to sit on the couch and just watch,
Right.
you're not going to get as much in.
And now I feel like it's part of our work. Like,
No.
it's part of what we do. We
literally
have
our-
to consume this content.
It's literally our job.
It's our job. You heard it here.
You heard it here. So what have you been watching?
Okay. So actually, I'm switching it up, and playing for me has been board games.
Ooh.
Right? So Christmas Eve, we also, to throw it back to Christmas,
Mhm.
always play a game after we open presents or
Mhm.
something. Well, we carried that into this past week Like I went to my mom's, what day was it? I don't remember. Wednesday. Spent the entire day at my mom's. Again, we are mama's girlies.
We
Like
really are.
we are gonna go to our mom's.
Yeah.
Like
One thing about us, we're going to our mom's.
we're going to our mom's house. So went to my mom's. Like Josh came down. Tate and Cece were over, and we played board games. Like even Carrie came over. Like it was
I love
our
that.
friend. Our friend. I'm talking like everybody knows each other, but
Y'all do.
y'all do, okay? And we call it like porch night.
Oh,
call
I
it
do know
porch
about
night,
porch night.
But
I love porch night.
we played Pictionary, which we all know what Pictionary is. Tapple.
I've never heard of that.
Okay, so Tapple's really fun. It has like the alphabet all the way around this little round thing, and it'll be a category and like clothing brands, and it goes clockwise, and you have to say like Gucci, and you press the G down, and then you press the little thing in the center, and it keeps
Okay.
going until someone gets out.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so that's really fun. Highly recommend that game if you're a board game player.
That's a good family game for sure.
It is, and also categories, which is
Yeah.
kind of the same thing.
Yeah, same concept.
Yes, which we obviously like those types of games.
Yes, categories
So-
can get heated.
Heated. bitch.
Family board games are always like a good time. I need to start doing that more. Like I need to
Yes.
start telling my family, take out the board game.
It's board game.
yeah,
night.
it's board game time. One more thing that I forgot to mention too that I've been playing was I did catch up on the John Benet Ramsey documentaries.
Ooh, yes, please fill us in.
So I feel a little bit more knowledgeable about it, but I definitely still feel very confused. And it's one of these cases that I did have to like step away from because I was getting like too involved, too invested, and too stressed
well, that's
out.
what I was gonna say. You're not gonna get an answer,
Exactly, and
which
I can't have that.
sucks.
I can't have that. It
Have your
stresses me.
closure.
I need the
Move on.
closure.
Move
That's
on.
why I actually took a step back from true crime podcasts because I felt like every single one was unsolved, and I was so annoyed. I don't want to hear an unsolved crime. I need the closure. So that's where I'm at with John Benet Ramsey. Like I'm making peace with it, and I'm walking away.
I'm so proud of you
Thank
because
you.
that's a very hard thing to do.
It's so hard. Okay, next would be obsessing. So I've just been obsessing over wearing sweats as clothes. So like,
Absolutely.
you know, down in South Louisiana, it's not often that we get to wear like sweatpants and crew necks unless you want to just sweat your ass off because it's always so hot. So right now we actually have had like a decently cold December and I've been able to just wear my sweatpants and crew necks and it's been so nice. Like I wish I could wear it every single day forever.
And they really are so cute.
They're so cute.
I love a sweatpants crew neck moment
Me too.
with like crew socks.
Mhm. The best.
It's so cute.
Yeah. You can
So
really
cute.
like dress it up or down, you know?
You know? And it's a look.
It's a look and it's comfy.
It is comfy. I do love that. I am obsessing over my new Ember cup, which bitch I have with me right
Let's
here.
see it.
It is a temperature controlled cup
It
that you
is-
can control from your phone.
That is so cool.
Wait,
I
it
love the
really is
color.
so cute. So it'll give you a notification like when you when it reaches your desired temperature,
Mhm.
and it keeps it there. But just for shits and giggles, I filled it up with just like room temp water for
Mhm.
tea, and I put the tea bag in, and I set to 138 degrees,
Wow.
y'all.
And did it work?
Yes, feel it.
Ooh, it's
It
hot
wa-
to the touch.
It's hot to the touch. It really did fill it up.
That's so nice on like a chilly day too to warm up your hands. Like
Honestly,
wow.
real shit. And if you're like you work from home or
Mhm.
work in an office and your coffee gets cold, get an Ember.
Mhm.
It keeps it warm.
It's very aesthetically pleasing too. It's very nice. It's chic. It's a little shiny.
She's cute.
She's very cute.
She is cute.
I love it.
I'm
Did you
obsessed.
wait? Was it a Christmas gift?
It was a Christmas gift.
Oh, nice.
Obsessed. They have
I
like
love it.
different ones. They have like a travel cup, but
Mhm.
honestly, like I like the mug.
I like the mug too.
I'm a mug girl.
Yeah.
And then Josh's mom got me this.
Mhm.
And then the little topper, the lid on top.
Mhm.
So then it's a travel mug.
It's perfect.
It is
It's
perfect.
versatile. You can have coffee or a cup of tea.
I'll put it over here.
A cup of
The
tea.
cup of tea. Now
I-
we've jumped into that accent.
I love the Emba. Recommending. Okay, here's where I'm going to bring up the Libby app.
Oh, yes.
So I can't believe how long I have slept on the Libby app. I can't believe I was paying for Audible. Like, why? The Libby app is literally free. It's an online library. It's a public library.
yeah, I think this is gonna be like huge for our listeners.
I think so too.
because you told me about Libby.
And I didn't know. My nanny told me about it because she was like, "No, why are you paying for Audible?" Now she said she still does have Audible because Libby doesn't have everything,
Mhm.
but they have pretty much everything. Like It's
so
gonna be
far every book that
Mhm.
they've had it.
so far every single thing that I've wanted to read has been there.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's just like going to your public library, except it's online. So the only thing you need for the Libby app is an actual library card and a PIN number, which is where you've been getting stuck. Because I'm actually using my nanny's library card number, and then she gave me her PIN. So like, what you'll have to do you have a library card?
I do. I have my library card. I've downloaded the app, and then I registered, made an account, and then I made it as far as put in your PIN, and I don't know what the PIN is. I'm assuming is that something I set up with my local library,
That's what I think. Probably when you made your library card, you
and I
set up a PIN.
don't remember it. So
Yeah.
maybe I just need to go through and like what combination of numbers would I have done?
Yes. Or you'll just have to like call the library and maybe get a new card. But
Yeah.
it's worth it. Like you need to just take the time to do it
To do
because
it.
everything is free and it also is connected to your Kindle. So like if you don't even have to
Oh.
pay for Kindle books if it's not on Kindle Unlimited, you just get it
'Cause
on
it's already
Libby.
there.
And it connects to your Kindle.
Wait, you think Audible's quaking?
I think Audible is shaking.
Shaking.
Audible's like,
Because-
Libby is coming for their necks.
Literally, like you thought.
You
thought
thought
you were
Audible-
exclusive.
No,
Not
they're
gonna lie,
not.
I did cancel my Audible account.
I did too. And I wish I would have known about Libby when I was doing
Me
Hunger
too.
Games with all my classes because I surely did.
Sure,
I
surely
did.
bought that
I
bitch.
surely spent a lot of money on getting every single Hunger Game book to play out loud, and I
Mhm.
could have got it on Libby. So,
For free.
lesson learned. Everybody just go download Libby. Go to your local library and get a card. It'll take like 5 minutes. It's worth it if you're going to listen to audiobooks a lot. Because
Absolutely.
I am 100% on my audiobook journey, and Libby is going to let me do that for free.
For free.
For free.
Love that.
Yes.
Okay, I am recommending investing in some kind of like glassware.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh and I were so hardcore into Tupperware. But my mom gifted us Corningware.
Corningware. Okay.
We actually got like really started investing into like storage containers that are glass. Because I don't know if I ever mentioned this on here, but Josh and I are moving like exclusively trying to be mostly plastic free. Like we've stopped drinking out of water bottles completely.
I don't think you've 100% mentioned that. I think you've mentioned going a little bit more clean with your
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
So no water bottles at all.
We do not drink out of water bottles.
Okay.
I mean, like if it's like I'm
Right.
dying of thirst,
Right.
I'll drink out of a water bottle.
You're not gonna like flick the water bottle away.
Right, like I'm not gonna just like dehydrate because I'm like, no, it's plastic. But for the most part, yeah, because like we exclusively were only because our refrigerator is an older model, so it doesn't have
Oh yeah.
the water system inside.
Mhm.
So we were only drinking out of water bottles, and then Josh and his dad put in like a filter in your sink type of thing.
Yeah.
With a little spigot. But really trying to get away from the BPAs, and I always heard
Mhm.
that thrown around like what even is that? And I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong. Bismol A.
Sounds right to me.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah.
But okay, so all of that to say it's a hormone disruptor.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and especially when you heat your food up in like plastic containers,
Mm-hmm.
it releases it. And I never realized that until I
And I'm
just
sure
started
it's-
like the cleaner journey.
I'm sure it's extremely toxic for you.
Yes.
It sounds very toxic.
It's toxic.
I'm very proud of y'all for doing that. That's not an easy task. Like that's a whole lifestyle change really to go
Yeah.
from to go plastic free. So y'all have been investing in like glass Tupperware,
Yes.
which is really nice to have too.
Yeah, so like Anchor is a brand.
Mhm.
What's the other one? Pyrex
Okay.
is another one.
That's awesome.
And honestly, like there's probably some plastic containers that are BPA free, but
Yeah.
it's
Good.
important to check it
I was gonna say it's a good thing to look out for.
for sure.
Definitely. Okay. What is next?
Treat.
Treat. Okay. Here's what I'm treating myself to. I'm gonna get my nails done this week.
As you should.
I have not got my nails done in so long. Really, since becoming a mom, it's become like a rarity.
Mhm.
For no reason other than just like I haven't prioritized it. Like I could find the time for sure if I really wanted to. So I want to start finding the time because I feel like it just helps so much with putting your look together. I know we've talked about this before, but it really makes you feel like more just nice, more put together.
I'm huge on
Nails.
nails
Mhm.
and like keeping up with your nails because I do think that it does. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And when you feel good, you do good.
Exactly. And maybe not everybody, maybe it doesn't matter to you.
Right.
But to me it does.
To me, it does as well. Like when
Yeah.
I look down and I'm completing a task, like
Yes.
I want my nails done. Or at
Exactly.
least painted.
Yeah, so even like okay, I tried to just paint. I did this yesterday and
Yeah.
they're completely chipped. And I did I sat there and I was
Took
careful.
your time.
Yes, I put 2 coats. I put it clear on top, and they're literally going already. I'm like, it's not cutting it. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna treat myself to get my nails done.
Love that.
What about you?
I just have been treating myself to just some self-care time, at
Mhm.
home,
Mhm.
but taking care of myself with my morning routine, nighttime routine, being intentional, just romanticizing that whole thing.
Yes.
That's something I was so focused on, I guess, at the beginning of last year.
Mhm.
And every once in a while I'll be like, oh, romanticize. I love it so much. And I'm like, no, I am bringing that in. And that is going to be a goal of mine.
Yeah.
To romanticize all the little things. So that's what I'm treating myself to. Because you know what?
What?
I never got that damn scalp massage that I've been talking
Are
about
you
since
serious?
fucking November. Never
Are you
got
serious?
it. I'm serious.
You
I
need to
never
get
got it.
You need to do it.
I know. I'll
Check
do
that
that
off the bucket list.
I'll check it off in 2024.
Yeah, just because it just sounds I have chills thinking about getting a scalp massage. That sounds so amazing. You just need to do it.
It's one of my I love when people play with my hair.
Me too.
Love.
You know what? Matt doesn't play with my hair enough now. I'm mad.
Neither does Josh.
Now that I'm thinking about
Boys,
it.
step it up. Also, side note, can we please get the husbands on in 2024?
That's such a good idea.
We need a husband.
Yes. Y'all, send
Episode.
us ideas for a husband
Please.
episode. What should we ask them? Let's grill the husbands.
Let's fucking grill them.
That sounds so psychotic. I love it.
But honestly, I love those type of episodes
Me
when
too.
the husbands come on
Me
because they're so behind the scenes.
They're so behind the scenes. It's so interesting. I love seeing people's dynamics and just men in
Men
general.
in general.
Their brains are the inner workings of a man. So fascinating, because they're
Fascinating.
so different than us.
And I wonder what their answers would be.
Yeah, I think we should bring them in blind. Don't tell them anything that we're gonna ask them.
That's
and just,
so scary. That gives me so much anxiety. I'm anxiety.
and I
Anxiety.
also don't want them to mess with the podcast.
No.
Don't be sniffing into the microphone.
Wait, I know. And every time I feel just now, have to cough.
Yeah, no.
I keep leaning all the way over.
It's because we care so much about our listeners.
I mean, I wouldn't want someone hacking in my ear. So
sorry, guys. Okay, I think that was it. I think that was the weekly
that's it.
report. So shall we jump into the troop?
We shall.
Okay, y'all. I'm gonna hit y'all with the summary of the troop. This one, it is long, but it's worth it. Okay, if you are just someone who's here for the summaries in the story, this one is gonna be one that is really worth it to listen to because it's so fascinating. So just bear with me. I'm going to get y'all through it, and it's going to be good. Okay, here we go. Real quick, some trigger warnings for this novel. It does briefly touch on animal abuse, bullying, self-harm, self-mutilation, infectious diseases, and gore. So here we go. This novel is told from a third-person omniscient narrator, so we get to be inside the head of all the characters. Throughout the novel, we also get hints of what happened through news articles, lab notes, and police interrogation interviews. We have a troop of boys around the age of 14 who are heading to their annual trip on a remote, uninhabited island called Falstaff Island, which is right off the coast of Prince Edward Island in Canada. There are 5 boys named Max, Ephraim, Kent, Newt, and Shelley. Their scoutmaster is Dr. Tim Riggs, who's a general practitioner doctor. Once the boys are on the island, there's a very odd and sick man who approaches their cabin on a boat and introduces them to a seriously deadly bioengineered virus. This virus quickly begins crumbling the group one by one, and the horror of what this man brought to the island begins to eat them alive, literally. On the island, there's no boat, only an emergency radio. So this man approaches Scoutmaster Tim, begging him for food. Before he reaches the island, we actually get the point of view of the sick man as he travels on a boat. His internal dialogue illustrates how hungry the man is. He speaks of being starving, and he seems generally confused. Though he doesn't seem to have ill intentions, it's clear that he is ravenous and will do anything for food. Though Tim doesn't know the true identity of the sick man, we the readers find out that this man is named Tom Paget. He has just escaped a scientist named Dr. Edgerton, who is using Tom as a human test subject for the deadly virus that was about to plague the troop. This virus comes from worms. These worms were bioengineered by Dr. Edgerton, allegedly at first to act as a diet pill that helps people shed pounds very quickly. But we later find out that the use of the worms may have been much more sinister, such as biological warfare. When the sick man begs Tim for food, Tim feels as though it is his duty as a doctor and scoutmaster to help him. He tells all of the boys to stay inside and stay away from the man because he clearly looks like a danger. He's really dirty, scraggly, and he looks like he's literally falling apart. The man coughs on Tim, destroys the only radio that they have, and absolutely begins lashing out, going totally nuts. It seems like symptoms of the worm disease are being extremely hungry, pale-looking, exhibiting odd self-deprecating behavior, and not making a lot of sense. Tim figures out a way to sedate the man and leaves him locked up for the night. The next day, Tim sends the boys off on a hike and asks one of the troopers, Max, to join him in an investigatory surgery on the sick man to figure out what's wrong with him. Tim knows it's against his better judgment to bring one of the troop members in the face of danger like this, but he feels like he needs an extra person with him, and Max accompanies him anyway. Tim and Max go to the man. Tim cuts the man open and investigates his illness, and suddenly giant worms crawl out of his body, crawl up on the sick man, and strangle him to death. Tim and Max were both terrified and confused, and it isn't long that the troop of boys realize that Tim has been infected by the sick man. Tim begins acting strange and super hungry, so the boys lock him away in a closet in hopes of not catching whatever this plague was. After this initial event with the sick man, the troop of boys begin to unravel one by one. We get flashbacks of the boys' childhood that helps us understand their actions on the island. Max and Ephraim are very best friends. They grew up together and are best buddies. Kent is like the jock of the group. He comes across as the strong one. Shelley is the oddball of the group. He's known to be a creep back at school, always touching girls and being weird. Newt is like kind of the nerd of the group, but he's soft and an easy target for the boys to pick on. They don't really mess with him in a malicious way, but it's definitely still hurtful to him. Kent is the first of the troop to get infected. He takes a sip of Tim's whiskey and contracts the worms. The boys find that all of their remaining food has been eaten by Kent, who ate it because he's sick, though he doesn't confess right away. However, Shelley saw him take the food and told the other boys. The boys make Kent quarantine himself away from them. Time passes and the boys grow starving. They expect the boat to come that was originally scheduled to pick them up, but it never does. Tim succumbs to the worms and dies in the closet. A huge storm comes and the boys survive it, but lock Kent in the cellar to keep him safe, but still away from them. Ephraim, Newt, and Max leave to go find food and some mushrooms that they think might be a cure for the worms. Shelley hides until they leave, and here is where we find out that not only is there a threat of the worms on this island, but there's also the threat of Shelley. Shelley is an absolute psychopath. We find that he has always had killer tendencies starting from a young age where he would kill bugs and then eventually go on to murder his cat, all while being sexually aroused while killing the cat, by the way. Shelley doesn't have any attraction to boys or girls like most teenagers do. The only way he becomes interested is when he's doing something absolutely terrible to another thing or person. He loves the fear within people, which is why he was caught doing weird things like touching girls at school to freak them out. Shelley plans to kill everyone on the island now that this insane circumstance that they're in has given him the perfect chance to live out all of his most sick fantasies. Before they go on their hike, Shelley convinces Max that he was infected with worms, even though he really wasn't. This causes Max to go crazy with fear and anxiety of having the worms, and he ends up cutting himself, trying to dig out the non-existent worms. So now we're back to Shelley and Kent. Shelley targets Kent as his first victim, since he's left vulnerable, locked away with a disease. Kent is rapidly declining in health. He's quickly losing weight, growing more and more starving, eating random things that he can find, vomiting, and looking extremely ill. Shelley decides to torment him by telling him awful things and feeding into the delusions that the disease is causing him. He makes Kent beg for food and feeds him all kind of disgusting things like dirt and bugs. Kent, having the worms, devours anything that Shelley gives him because once you have the worms, they literally eat you from the inside out. They tell your brain to eat anything and everything just as long as you keep feeding them. The more you feed them, the more they grow, and the more they grow, they start to lay eggs and duplicate. After hours and hours of torture, Shelley takes Kent to the ocean and drowns him with his own 2 hands. Kent dies, but the worms do not. The worms begin swimming to Shelley, enter his body, and infect him. Shelley now has the worms, and it doesn't take long for him to start feeling their effects. He feels them squirming inside of him, multiplying and begging him to eat. He loses his mind more and more, turning more and more evil with every second that he's infected. His hunger is so strong, he even runs around like a feral animal, eating things like dead carcasses and termite eggs. He calls the worms his babies and says that he can't wait to be a daddy to all the babies inside of him. He turns into an actual monster. Back to the boys looking for food now. Newt and Max find some berries, mushrooms, and a turtle. They kill the turtle but realize that murdering the turtle was much harder than they thought it would be, and the turtle is suffering. This really upset them, so they decide to bury the turtle instead of eating it. This shows that their humanity at this point is still intact. They go back to their cabin area, and soon after, Newt and Max find Ephraim completely covered in blood from the self-inflicted wounds he gave himself because of the anxiety he had of being infected with the worms. Shelley convinces Max to set himself on fire, telling him that he's absolutely infected with the worms, and the only way to get rid of them is to burn himself. Ephraim does this and dies. Max and Newt find his charred body, and Max immediately suspects Shelley of doing something terrible. The boys have always known that he was an odd character, and now his behavior was even more erotic. Max attacks Shelley, suspecting him as Ephraim's killer and being responsible for Kent, who went missing. Shelley stabs Max in the altercation, but Max doesn't die. They drive Shelley away into the woods where he continues his insane behavior, running rabid. Shelley views the worms within him as his ticket to a full transformation into the monster he always wanted to be. He plans to kill Newt and Max now because he wants to protect his babies, aka the worms. He wants to eat them and take cover in a cave. He says he wants to eat the two boys, and he takes cover in a cave. Here's a quote from this part of the book I just wanted to give an idea of Shelley's mindset because it was so crazy. So here's what the book says. Shelley had been planning on killing them anyway. He wasn't sure it'd be much fun at this point, although it might provide the same feeling of thrill he experienced while drowning Kent, a fizzy, sudsy, bath bubbly feeling in his veins. But now he'd kill them as a simple matter of principle. They had harmed his babies, and as a father, he always had to defend his children. Shelley exited the cave. The night enveloped him. He was part of it, the dark just like him. Eat, eat, eat. Oh my, weren't they so needy, so hungry? They asked so much of him, as all children must. But Shelley was only too happy to give. He came upon a diseased elm. Its trunk was pocked with tiny bore holes. He tore away a chip of the bark. His strength was immense, and he clawed inside the rotted tree. When he drew it, his hand was teeming with wood lice. He crushed them into paste. They fidgeted on his tongue and tickled his throat when he swallowed. He giggled hoarsely while sucking the last few lice off his fingers. Okay, so we're coming to the end now. Max and Newt scramble to find a plan. The boys get angry and frustrated and get into a fight, but quickly make up, chalking their behavior up to being such an unthinkable situation. Max remembers that he saw a boat plug sparks in the very first sick man's stomach. The man literally ate the spark plugs for the boat. The two boys decide to go back to the sick man's dead body to retrieve the plugs, where Max surgically removes them, avoiding being affected. But Shelley steals the spark plugs back from them in the night, luring them into his cave. Max and Newt go to get the spark plugs from Shelley because they want to spark up the boat and escape. But Shelley doesn't let them go that easily. In the cave, the boys attack each other, and they call Shelley the Shelley thing because he's a completely different person at this point. His skin is translucent, and it looks like thin pieces of paper just lightly covering his bones. His eyes are dull and lifeless. His teeth and gums are gnawed off due to all the horrid things he was eating. He's a shell of the person full of rage. During this altercation, Shelley's stomach literally ruptures, killing him as worms and guts and organs pour out of him. Newt gets infected with the worms at this point, and Max retrieves the spark plugs. They finally feel hope for the first time, though they both know that Newt has been infected. Newt doesn't want to go back because he knows he won't be accepted with the worms in his body, but Max takes him on the boat with hopes that they leave the island and find help in enough time to spare his life. As soon as the two boys approach home, they see a group of people who ask if they are well. Newt is shot instantly because he says he's hungry. This triggered the others to know that he was infected. Max is now the only survivor. So here's how everything comes together. Throughout the book, the boys rely on whatever survival skills they have acquired in their lifetimes. All the boys think of their families and back home and are guided by what they were taught growing up. So many times in the book, the boys reference what they think their parents would say or want them to do. An overall realization for so many of the boys is that when push comes to shove, the only thing you can do is survive, and nobody has the right answers, not even adults. You can't rely on them. Max and us as the readers learn throughout the book, through FBI reports, news articles, flashbacks, and interrogations, that Dr. Edgerton was not actually develop a diet pill, but rather a biological warfare weapon for the military with worms. It's clear that these worms could easily take out a civilization. It's also indicated that the military released the original sick man, Tom Pageant, to Falstaff Island on purpose to use the boys as unwilling test subjects. Max is forced to stay at the clinic for some time for test and evaluation. Eventually, he's released and returns home. He's not allowed back at school, and most people avoid him for fear that he may still be infected. Max is left feeling just as lonely as he did on the island. He misses his friends, except for Shelley. He thinks about them all the time. He feels like his life ended there on that island. At the end of the book, Max returns to the island, finding it totally empty and desolate after the military made efforts to completely destroy it and any remaining life forms on it. And that's it.
Holy heck.
That was a long one.
Thank you for taking us through that.
You're
But it
welcome.
had to be a long one because
It had to be
honestly,
said.
there was no stone unturned
Yeah.
in this book. So,
Yes.
you truly did have to cover all the areas. I do have one thing I wanted to say before we jump into the DBQs.
Let's hear it.
So, I guess this book would not be appropriate, obviously, for middle schoolers. Maybe seniors in, an AP class.
Yeah.
But it feels like one that is, the classics that you need to read.
Yes, it does.
Maybe in, a college-level course, but, the the troop must be read at some point in everyone's life, kind of like The Outsiders.
Yeah, and it's like giving Lord of the Flies. Like
It's giving Lord of the Flies. It must
I
be read.
I totally agree. It could be used for a college curriculum for sure.
A
But I could also
100%.
see like a group of seniors reading this book. There's so much to take from it.
So much. And I really do think, like, if we sat here and uncovered all of the themes, we would be here all day.
It's so true.
So, okay, let's jump right into our discussion-based questions with number 1. The book begins with the arrival of the sick man at the scout's cabin. If you were the scoutmaster, what would you have done? Knowing what we know at the end of the book, do you believe this was all intentional, a ploy by the government? If that is the case, was Tim Riggs involved? Was he an easy target? It's a packed question, so we can just kind of like take what we want from
Okay.
it.
Okay, yes. I think that Tim Riggs was an idiot for doing what he did and bringing Max in, bringing a vulnerable trooper,
A child.
a child, when he was supposed to be the scoutmaster. Do I understand his feelings of like feeling like it was his duty as a doctor and a scoutmaster? Maybe, but clearly that man was not well, and I think that his number one duty should have been protecting the children, not figuring out what was wrong with this man.
That part.
So I would have locked him out and been like,
Mhm.
fend for yourself, buddy, but you ain't fucking coming in here.
I know.
Or if you do, you're gonna have to.
Or like, should he have killed him? Because
Yeah.
like, how do you know he's gone away?
Wait, that's a good point because then that's a whole other like moral question of like, does this man deserve to die? Should Kim become a
Right?
murderer?
Should he become a murderer to protect these kids?
That's
Because
a
how do
hard
you
one.
know the sick man's going away? You don't.
You don't. And I'm just thinking like of Matt or Josh, okay?
Yeah.
Because let's say that Tim's duty as a scoutmaster would be to protect the troopers like his own children.
Mhm.
I like believe Matt or Josh or any like leader man of the family like would have probably once seeing how sick this man was probably have murdered him because like you got to do what you do to protect your own family.
No, I so get that.
Yeah, this man was
That's
not
a
well.
hard one.
It is.
So I do think that Tim was thinking and acting as a doctor, or I want to believe that's how he was acting because I do think you like take an oath when like you'll help anyone no matter how sick they are.
True.
I think
No,
that's an actual thing.
I think that's a thing too.
But I agree with you. Like when you're responsible for kids, you need to do whatever you can do to protect them. If the sick man was visually that sick, why would you let him in? Like I don't get that part.
Right. He was saying like he looked deathly ill.
Yes.
He even described like his smell, like from a doctor's standpoint, he was like the way he smelled was like death.
Death.
Like he knew something was seriously wrong with him just by his stench. So why did you bring him in?
But you know what my question was? If knowing, okay, we know at the end, like the government knew that that island was infected, why did they let Tim and the kids go anyway? Because like if you're
Mhm.
like their parents knew, like I'm sure like the Boy Scout agency knew. Why did they let them go there if it wasn't intentional?
That's why I do think it was intentional. Like it never said it 100%
Well-
in the book.
Right.
I think it was hinted that Tom, that was his name, right? Tom might have been released on the island purposefully
Yeah. He arrived by
by boat.
boat,
Yeah,
but he didn't go to the mainland, he went to the island.
right. I think it was on purpose to use the children as test subjects.
I think so too. Which is so sick and
So sick.
twisted.
And scary. Very scary.
Yeah. Because like if you truly wanted help, you would go to the mainland.
Exactly. I think they sent him on his way there, like somehow. I really do.
Yeah, it wasn't directly stated,
It
but I
wasn't.
do like I'm inferring here.
Even like the fact that it was allegedly the worms were allegedly first made to be diet pills,
Mhm.
and then like later on through the interrogations we find that it was most likely like a warfare.
Mm-hmm.
It never was like explicitly said though, unless I missed it. But I think it was like for us to interpret. But
Yeah.
from what I took, it seemed like pretty clear that this worm was created for more sinister reasons and not to be a diet pill.
Yes, because that was kind of referenced in the interviews.
Yeah,
with-
exactly.
With the I can't remember the names of the doctors and
They
all
were
that.
like the same. Dr. Edgerton was like the mastermind.
Yes.
And then they had Dr. Erickson.
Erickson and Edgerton. That's
Yeah.
what I would get them confused, but I think it was the one with Erickson
Mm-hmm.
where they were asking him about the money that was getting put in from like big pharma. And he was like, I
Yes.
had no idea. And he's like, so you didn't know that this was funded by whatever the name is,
Mhm.
and that's the army, something to do with the army. And I was like, oh shit, this like they don't want diet pills. What do they care about
Exactly.
diets?
That's why I think it was a biological warfare
For
weapon.
sure, I think so. Okay, so the worms of it all.
Mm.
How did you feel? Well, I guess we kind of talked about this.
The worminess.
Yeah, because this question asked about like
Oh.
worms as like biological warfare disguised as like a study for the diet.
Oh, okay. I think it's terrifying.
It's scary.
Just because this is why these type of books scare me the most. Like I do feel like this was a true horror story when I was reading it. It was super creepy. The writing, I know I'm sure we'll talk about the writing, but
Mm-hmm.
the way everything was laid out for you made it feel like something that really could happen in real life.
Absolutely could happen.
Yeah, and that's why, because like these weren't vampires, these weren't werewolves,
No.
it wasn't dragons. It was like an actual scientifically created disease,
Mhm.
which is 100% something that I believe could happen.
I mean,
in
we
our
already have
lifetime.
tapeworms. Like people
Exactly.
already get worms.
Exactly. Right, worms are already a thing.
Right.
Animals die of worms all the time.
All the time.
So like a worm created as a weapon, I do think is something that could happen. And I think it was so fucking scary to read because these worms and like worms just are weird. Okay, like worms
They're
are
disgusting.
so nasty, so freaky, and like the fact that they multiplied so quick and laid eggs within you and ate you from within
Mm-hmm.
could totally take out a civilization.
Well, I completely agree with that because anything that kind of even remotely feels like it could happen in real life, I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that on the last episode. But I will say that, on a hot summer's day, if I saw a worm trying to cross the sidewalk, I would pick it up and help it.
What? Really?
Yeah, like
you
before it got all crispy.
Yeah, yeah, because
I would save it.
The worms do like in the sun, just like
They do, and then
turn
they
into little raisins.
stink so bad.
So you would go pick up the worm and like go move
yeah, if
it.
it was alive.
So if you didn't know that this worm was,
But now,
if this worm was the same worm from the troop, you'd have been done for.
I would have been dead. I would have been one of the first ones.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
It would have been me.
yeah. I'm just so hungry.
But now, like, makes me feel really bad as a person. But I
I-
don't know if I'm gonna touch that damn worm this summer
it might have to be
because of
fucked
this
in worms.
book. Sorry, sorry, worms. Like, I don't think I can do it.
No, worms are so scary, and the concept of worms being used for this reason in the book, like, really was so well executed. Ooh, the
Fireworks. I completely agree. And the author's writing style,
hmm
it was just
It was
top tier.
Top tier for sure.
top tier. Did you see the episode of American Horror Story with the
Yeah.
worm?
Let's address it. Yes, because you told me to go watch this episode of American Horror Story, or it's Horror Stories.
Stories, yes.
Same concept.
Same exact concept
So she had the tapeworm for weight loss.
for weight loss because she wanted to be a model. And y'all, she's literally like this beautiful woman, and she goes in for this audition, and the woman's like, "You're absolutely way too fat.
Yeah, she's like, you fat ass bitch.
You
like,
fat bitch!
get
Like, I
out of
can't
here."
believe you actually thought."
The girl
So
was a size 4.
literally a size 4. And I think she did actually get on Ozempic. Like, I think
She
they
did.
showed that too, right?
She did. It was like their version of like Ozempic or
Ozempic,
like a
right?
weight loss shot.
Right. Like, okay, do your thing. And then it just like she hit that plateau, which like naturally happens. And then
She wanted to be more and more and more
small.
small.
Exactly. And so she goes see this holistic doctor, and he's like, check out these worms. And she did it. So that also, like, could you see people
Yeah,
being like, I'll take the worm.
100%. I could see people being like, this worm is going to make me rapidly lose weight. I'll eat the worm.
Right. Like, I'll take the worm.
Yes, because in the way it was presented to her was that like the worm was going to, I don't even know the scientific methods behind it, but that she was going to be okay. Like the worm was just going to live within
Eventually,
her.
it was going to die after, I think, after a certain amount of time, like, it would just
Right.
find its way out of the body.
Right. So like the worm
You
was going
poop it
to,
out.
yeah, the worm was going to consume whatever fat she put in, and then she was
Mhm.
going to get rid of it. But actually, like the opposite ended up happening. It
Yep.
literally ate her from the inside. She turned into a complete psychopathic monster.
Also, she was extremely hungry. Like,
Yes.
she's on set for the the photo shoots, and she's eating like fried chicken, mashed potatoes.
Stuffing her face.
It's so eerily similar to the troop,
It is. And
but
she
like modern day.
exactly. And she turns like skin and bones, just like the boys in this book do.
Attacks her roommate.
Yep. And like you could tell the hunger was just gnawing at her because of this worm. She ends up like taking something to poop the worm out.
Yep.
And the worm kills her.
Destroys her in the tub. And if you follow us on Instagram, I posted a picture with the worm.
Oh, yeah.
That's the worm from the American Horror Stories, that graphic. So I was like,
Wait,
this
we need
is-
to post that on our main feed.
We
and be like,
do.
listen to the episode to understand the reference.
Yes, 100%, because that is the worm.
Yeah.
That's how I pictured it.
Yes, y'all have to go watch that episode. Even though we just spoiled it, you still have to watch it. It's so good.
You don't, now that we told you everything happens, but it is good.
Yeah, and I could totally see like worm as weight loss.
worm as weight loss.
People love being skinny.
Worm govy. Like
Love it.
Wegovy.
Slay. Worm
Slay.
goby. I might take a worm.
Worm govy, please. Okay. So the book is sprinkled with interviews, lab studies, and articles throughout the novel. Which stood out to you the most and which impacted the story the most in your opinion?
Ooh, okay. I loved all of the excerpts that were in this book, like all of the different added like rhetorical devices that the author used to develop the story.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Like that's why I think his writing was so.
It was chef's kiss.
It really was. So all of these little excerpts, I felt like let me really figure out what's going on while still leaving some mystery. Like it wasn't
Mhm.
until the end of the book that I fully knew what was happening, but he sprinkled in enough that I didn't feel so confused the whole time.
Yes.
I just felt intrigued to keep reading, really. Like I just wanted to know more.
Mm-hmm.
You start putting the pieces together more and more through like the interviews and articles. The ones that stood out to me the most, I think, were like the interviews and the interrogations.
Yes.
That's when I started to realize like the worms were made for a darker reason through the interviews. So
Absolutely.
I love that spin that he had.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the interviews with the admiral stuck out to me the most. I'm so conflicted on how I felt as far as like his character. Because
Which one? The
he was like the army guy.
okay, yeah.
And he was so unfazed with the kids being sick. He was the one that like put out the orders saying like no one goes in, no one comes out.
Right. His main concern was just keeping the island isolated and not like caring for the kids and getting the kids out.
Right. And I think that's where I was so confused because I can understand like you don't want all of Canada sick. Like you just don't care about these kids that are stuck there. I don't know. I was so torn.
That is a very hard thing to make your mind up on because it's like, okay, get the kids out and risk the entire country getting these
Mhm.
worms or keep the kids there and sacrifice the 5.
Absolutely. And the one, the gorilla excerpt is the one that I feel like impacted the story the most because that is when we had a true time stamp on how quickly the worms multiplied and how quickly the test subject like lost their mind.
That was so scary to read. I pictured the whole thing in my head while reading it. This poor gorilla being trapped and used as a test subject, and he completely just like goes rapid.
Yeah.
Rampant.
I'm so glad you said that. This, I mean, you visualize books in your head as you read, but this was the first book that, like, from beginning to end, it played out in my head like a movie.
It really did.
The entire thing.
I saw the whole thing like a movie. Everything.
This needs
The
to be a movie.
island. Yes. The island. Everything
Everything.
needs to be a movie.
Okay, moving on. In chapter 24, Kent and Max's dad finally set out in the attempts to find the boys. The cigarette boat sank and was gone in a matter of seconds. What do you think the boat symbolizes, if it symbolizes anything at all?
Okay. I was confused about this. Like, did they die? The dead? Because they went to go out and they were like shut down?
So, I think they both survived.
Okay.
But it doesn't say like they were rescued, but I know at the end,
He's back with his family.
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too. So knowing that, I
Mhm.
think that the boat symbolizes for me how helpless the boys were.
Yes.
Like when their family could not go and save them because it was like a nobody in, nobody out type of thing. I was like, they're done for. Like their parent, and they also it made me really sad because they had no idea that their parents knew what was going on and were trying to get to them. I
Right.
think they were just so confused, like what is happening to us right now?
and that everyone knew what was going on.
But no one could help.
No one could help.
I felt helpless for both the kids and the
Mhm.
parents because I cannot imagine being a parent and you can't do anything. You try and you're completely shut down. It just felt like a very overall feeling of helplessness
Yeah.
for me.
For sure. Because I said that the boat symbolized that sinking hope of freedom. So I feel like it kind of like goes hand in hand.
I love that thinking hope of freedom. It's so true.
Like there was no escaping.
That was it.
That was it. Throughout the book, there is consistent inner dialogue, and I think you touched on that in the summary. How does the dialogue drive the plot?
Okay. The inner dialogue. First, let me say this. I normally don't love a third person narrator
Mhm.
because I just like when it's first person, you say I, you feel like more connected to the
Right.
characters, but it so worked in this story.
It did. This was the best I've ever seen it done.
Me too. I didn't mind it at all. I actually preferred it,
Mhm.
like because it was third person omniscient. So you knew every single thought of every single character. And the author did such a good job at bringing in all of their inner dialogues. We got to know them so well through that, and we got to know like, do you hear that beeping?
Yes,
Oh.
it's faint.
Oh, it just went away. All right. If it comes back, we'll pause.
Yeah.
Okay, I felt like we got to know each character in depth. At first, I was like, okay, I don't really care about the boy's background. Like, show me the worms.
Same.
I was like, what's going on with the worms? That was like more intriguing to me. But then as the story went on, I realized how important it was to know the children's background to see like what motivated them to make the decisions they made.
Yep, it was so necessary. I agree with you. I was like,
Mhm.
I don't care,
Yes, show me the worms.
but I needed to care.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with everything you just said. I also found it interesting that the inner dialogue a lot of the time was like their parents or each other.
Yeah.
Like Newt especially, like a lot of like what Max told him would play in his mind, and then like the Alex Markson
Oh yeah, which was like his
of it
little
all.
alter ego because he was just like a timid boy, so he had like an alter ego that he created on Facebook.
His dead cousin.
So sad.
So sad. But I thought that was interesting because like they were so impacted by each other.
They
So
really were.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Shelley was a sick MFer. Like
Ugh.
honestly, one of the scariest book characters that I've encountered in a long time.
1,000,000,000%. I can't think of a character more scary than Shelley that I've really read.
Shelley's nuts, y'all.
He was nuts. That excerpt that I read, like I had to include that because when I was reading that, gave me chills when he was calling the worms his babies.
his babies.
I was like, this man is not okay.
Not okay. Do you feel like the book would still be as good without Shelley's character, or would it lack substance?
Honestly, I think Shelley's character was necessary. I think he made the book so much more intriguing. I still think this book without a character like Shelley would be super interesting and just because I love the concept of it. But to include Shelley's character and bring in like a monster that's not the worms but an
Yes.
actual person was such a great idea.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
I think that he added so much more dimension and just horror to the book. It developed the overall theme for me, or one of the many overall themes, which is like sometimes the scariest and most horrifying things in life are the people around us, and we don't even know.
honestly, sometimes the people you're closest to, because they spent so much time with Shelley, and they were all aware that like, okay, Shelley's kind of a freak.
But they didn't know what was
But they-
really going through his mind.
Did not know. He fucked with every single one of those boys.
And his chapters with Kent when he was torturing Kent were just so scary, so
Poor
sad.
Kent.
Poor Kent. Justice for Kent. Justice for all of these kids except
Shelley.
Except Shelley.
Shelley, no.
No to Shelley, but it just goes to show I really do. There are so many people like Shelley in the real world, and like they live amongst you.
They walk amongst us.
And Shelley was just in the perfect circumstance to like let his freak flag fly.
Oh my
Because
God.
and he said that too. He was like, "Wait, this is perfect. Now I can be the monster that I am. What better place on a deserted island?"
Oh my God. You're so right.
He was like on a deserted island.
Like that was his playground. He couldn't wait.
He couldn't wait. Tim was gone.
But
that
you
was
know
it.
what? It seems that his plan the entire time, like take the worms out of the equation, was to like kill someone.
For sure. I think like he went to the island with like he intentions. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna fuck with these boys like hardcore.
Because y'all, like what he did to, was it Ephraim? Ephraim?
Ephraim. I said Ephraim. Yeah.
Ephraim with the walkie-talkie, and he was just having him like cut himself.
Terrible.
Horrible, because he didn't actually have worms.
No, I was like wondering throughout the novel, did he really have worms? But he didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't. And like you can also imagine believing that you do because you're so scared. You're like, I can imagine being on the island and like, oh my God, did I just feel something squirm on me? Like, oh my God, what is that? And like
Oh,
get
yeah.
turn completely paranoid.
Because like you talk about lice, and you're like, my head's itching.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I have lice. Like,
Fully. And then then on top of being starving,
yes, like your
Losing-
basic needs aren't met. You're so right.
you're so tired, you're so hungry, you're so scared. He's still a boy. They were 14 years old away from your family. I could totally see someone convincing you that you have the worm because you're in such a vulnerable state.
And he was completely evil.
Ugh,
Oh my gosh.
terrible character.
Number 7. Savant. There are a lot of comparisons to adult throughout the novel. Why is this important to the overall themes in the book, and why would so many references be included?
I thought this part was like one of the most interesting themes, and I'm curious to know like what your take was on like what the author was trying to get at with the adults of it all. This is kind of what I took from it. I think the references to adults really play into the theme that like at the end of the day, we're all just trying to survive, and like adults don't always have the answer. The one adult in the situation that was meant to protect them was Tim, and he did the completely wrong thing. He put them probably in the most danger. You really never know how you're going to react when you're in these situations. And I think as a child, you always think back to like, what would my mom do? What would my mom say right now? Or like, you're always thinking of your parents. Even as an adult, I'm a full grown adult. Okay, kind of like I'm 27. Like, I'm still a teenager, but I'm also an adult. Like, I'm in that
Mhm.
weird phase. But like, I would be thinking of my parents the whole time. Like,
Absolutely.
it just goes to show how much like your parents and the adults in your life impact the decisions that you make going like forward.
And that's what I was gonna get at.
Okay, that's what you took from it too?
Exactly. Like,
Okay.
I think that this author truly wrote it so beautifully. I think that's like so ironic to say,
No, but it's so true.
but the impacts of like growing up, like how much our parents' thoughts and beliefs impact us.
Yep.
Like you said, like even into adulthood, like I still am like, why do I believe that? Oh, it's because of what my mom and dad believed, you
Yep.
know?
It's so true.
But I think what they got to do on the island was like, okay, they had to bring in their own beliefs, like the turtle.
Yes.
Like they
right,
were
they had to actually become an adult for themselves.
in that moment.
Yeah.
But I think also like we lose so much of that going into adulthood. Like we
Mhm.
lose that inner child. Like they were
Mhm.
still like kids at the core of it, even though
Yes.
they were in like this shit ass situation.
Yes.
I don't know. I just thought that was such a cool theme.
Me too. And it was very, very prevalent.
It really was. And they had this one quote: "They didn't abandon each other. Maybe it never entered their minds that they could. Those ideas come with the dawn of adulthood and all the cruelties implicit on that stage of life." So like they never once thought to abandon each other, but I think
Mhm.
like going into adulthood, it is like
Mhm.
every man for themselves. Like
Yes.
Get
I
outta here.
love that quote because they stuck together so much and it is so much easier to do that when you're a child. Like when you're an adult, you're just thinking, like you said, every man for yourself.
Yep.
I think about this often, but like the apocalypse, like I always think
Bitch.
about like how fast people turn on each other
Oh yeah.
to survive, and it's usually always the adults. But in this situation, they were still children. Those like they didn't have the experiences yet to really like make their brains go, okay, I don't care about what XYZ is doing. I gotta survive. They're like looking out for each other the whole
other.
time. Besides Shelly, psychopathic Shelly.
Yeah, he would have never, like he was not even there.
Shelly could never.
Shelly could never.
It also is just like sad to think about. Like, wow, when you're an adult, like you lose that. Like
It's
that's
sad.
It is sad. I was like, it was just a sad realization, a sad
It
theme.
was. Makes me want to just like connect with my inner child.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Moving on though. The gorilla, the turtle, the cat, and the animal abuse in general that's referenced throughout the book. Do you feel like it was too much or do you think it was necessary for the story?
Oh, this one's hard because I hate reading anything about animal abuse.
Same.
But it wasn't too much to where I couldn't read it, honestly. There was one book that we read. Oh, Tender is the Flesh.
Oh my gosh.
When they had the animal abuse, hatred to that book. When they had the animal abuse felt completely unnecessary. In this book, like, I felt like it was just there for shock value
Yep.
almost. In this book, I felt like it wasn't necessary to the plot, but I understood its purpose and like driving the plot, especially with Shelley when
Yep.
he abused the cat. Well, we had to know that he was like that to understand why he acted the way he did on the island.
Yeah, like I feel like it was like for the character development
Exactly.
of it all.
The character development. Yep.
Because with that, I think we saw Newton's true colors
Mm-hmm.
and we saw Shelley's true colors.
Exactly.
Disgusting.
Nasty.
Yeah, nasties. Okay. Coming to the end of our discussion-based questions, I think this is going to be the most important one that we say. Which character would you choose to fight in a Mortal Kombat style fight knowing you're going to win?
I love this question so much. I really thought about it and I was like, who am I going to fight knowing I'm going to win? There's two people that I
And you
can't
wouldn't
choose.
get sick. You wouldn't get sick.
Okay, you would not get
You
sick.
would not get the worms,
Okay.
but you just out here fighting.
So, the reason I'm going to go with Tim
Ooh,
is
okay.
because I could have probably stopped the whole thing from happening if Tim would have died because I would not have brought in the sick man. So like me and Tim, we're going eye to eye right now. Like, what are we doing about this sick man? And Tim's
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna bring the sick man in and investigate. I'm gonna have to fight Tim.
And now you're fighting Tim.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Okay.
have to fight Tim because I'm gonna say no. We're not square up, Tim.
Square
We're not
The
bringing,
fuck up.
exactly. We're not bringing this man in. Shelly probably still would have been Shellying it up, but we might not have all been affected by worms because, like,
That's so true.
because your boy Tom, poor Tom Paget, he would have never been in the picture if Tim wouldn't have brought him in.
That's right.
So, who are you straight up squaring up
Okay,
with?
so while you're fighting Scoutmaster Tim, I'm taking on the sick man.
Ooh, good one. Straight up.
I think it's an easy fight.
Yeah,
I
for
have
sure.
an advantage. And I'm not getting sick. Like, he's done. So we're taking out both of them. We're saving the boys.
Perfect.
Even Shelly, because, like, let's be
Yeah.
real. Maybe we could get him some
Right.
institutionalized help.
Yes, we'll bring Shelly to the mental institute.
And move on with our lives.
Wait, that's a perfect ending. In an alternate universe, in this book,
Thank you.
we're squaring up with Tim Riggins and Tom Paget, and the worms wouldn't be a thing.
Wouldn't be a thing. And we're saving those damn kids.
And then I'm squaring up with Dr. Edgerton, because what is wrong with you?
Absolutely. And Erickson.
Fuck them both. Erickson and Edgerton, you're done.
You're done. I think it's clear we love the book, though.
Love this book.
Putting a stamp on it, honestly, I'm giving it 5 stars.
Me too.
5 freaking stars. It's so deserved.
For me, this book is also a 5-star. I loved my time with it. I thought it was a book that felt like a book. You know?
It was a book that felt like a book.
It did.
Yeah.
It was so well developed. The writing was amazing. I loved the dialogue, the character development, the plot. I honestly could have done more with, like, I would have liked more. I want, like, a second. I want to know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, though. I kind of liked how it ended.
I did like how it ended, but who survived?
Max.
Max.
Yeah.
Like Max in adulthood.
Max in adulthood.
A little novella, because I love a short read.
Yes, just give us, like, a couple chapters. How does Max move on with his life?
Absolutely. Does
So-
he get married?
Right. Does he forget about the worms? Does he become a worm freak? Is he obsessed with worms now?
Are there worms
do the worm
plaguing Canada?
Exactly.
Do you have any possible theories or reviews?
Well, not really. Like, I
Mhm.
think that my overall review was that it's a 5-star. I loved it
Yep.
so much. My theory was that, and I know we mentioned this before,
Yeah.
that it was really scary that this is something that could happen. I don't know if, Nick Cutter, the author, was just like
Mhm.
putting it out there to the world. Hey, beware of the worms. Beware
I mean,
of the
let's be
worms.
real. He wrote this in 2014, and then in 2023, American Horror Stories produces
Mm.
something similar.
I wonder if they use this book as inspiration. You never know.
It's possible.
You never know.
You never know.
My overall themes were that the scariest things can be humans. One,
Ooh, I love that.
yeah, Dr. Edgerton, he was a human who created this disease. He's scary. Shelley was a monster that lived with him. You're scary. The scariest things can be the people around us.
Oh my gosh.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I did pull a theory from Reddit for you.
Ooh.
Specifically, I read it and was like, wait, I want Colby to hear this because I want to know how you feel about it.
Okay.
So this is from Reddit from the user Moo Lavender.
Love that name.
I was mildly disappointed to realize that there were no cannibalism. There was no cannibalism.
Mhm.
It honestly felt like a waste of opportunity for this kind of plot. Hell, I would have been satisfied if when Shelley was feeding Kent gross things, he fed Kent the man's arm or something. That would have been enough to satisfy my need for cannibalism in this story. I just have a really hard time believing that they would be willing to eat wallpaper and rocks, but not each other.
Great theory. Never thought about that. I find cannibalism fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Any like books about cannibalism?
Except for Tender as Flesh.
That book sucked. That book had so much potential.
It did have
You know what?
potential.
Nick Cutter needs to write a book about cannibalism. That's it.
He'd nail it.
He would nail it. That's a really great point. What I'm gonna go with to like counter that is
Mhm.
maybe the worm just made you. No, that doesn't really make sense because I was gonna say the worm makes you so hungry you'll eat anything. So why not eat a person? Like that would have made sense for them to
I
try
mean,
to eat each other.
It's so weird because when I was reading the book, I didn't really think about
Mhm.
cannibalism at all. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
oh, we're sucking on rocks because they're salty and we're eating tree lice.
Ugh.
But like, really, it wasn't like,
Yeah. The only time it was brought up was when Shelley was being like a freak and he was like, I'm going to eat them, but just because.
right.
Like, I want to kill them, so I'm going to eat them.
So I just wonder, like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
yeah, it's an interesting theory.
Yeah, it's not a plot hole for me. It's just
Mm-mm.
like, I wonder why the
wonder why
author
he-
wrote it that way.
Yeah. It's something to ponder.
Okay. So I think that completes our discussion.
Loved it.
So now it's time for our next on the shelf. We're really excited about this one.
Yes.
So next we are going to read Don't Let Her Stay by Nicholas Sanders. So here we go. Someone inside your house wants you dead, but no one believes you. Joanne knows how lucky she is. Richard is a wonderful husband. Evie is the most gorgeous baby girl. They live in a beautiful house. Life truly couldn't be better. until Richard's 20-year-old daughter, Chloe, turns up. Chloe hasn't spoken to her father since the day he married Joanne 2 years ago. But Chloe wants to make peace. She'll even move in for a few weeks to help Joanne with the new baby. It sounds perfect. But when things happen that make Joanne feel like she's losing her mind, she begins to wonder. Is Chloe really here to help, or has Joanne made a terrible mistake by letting her move in? And is it too late to ask her to leave? This is perfect for fans of Frida McFadden, Sue Watson, Shalini Bolin. Don't Let Her Stay is a totally addictive psychological thriller with a twist that will shock you.
Can't wait.
Me either.
And the reference to Frida McFadden, like I'm in. Fits
Absolutely.
Fast-paced thriller.
We love Frida.
Count us in. All right. Read the next on the shelf book.
Tune
Give
in.
us a review.
Please.
Give us a review, please, on Spotify or Apple. What?
We're just a couple of bozos.
Y'all, before we go, we have to tell y'all we got our first hate comment.
Hater.
We were so excited.
We were.
Someone, a troll, commented, "Who are these bozos?" And I was like, Slay.
Slay. Like, I don't care. I'll be a bozo.
I don't care. I'll be a bozo. You're watching? Give us a comment.
Bozos.
When you get your first hate comment, it feels like you've made it.
We've made it.
We've made it. So go give us a nice little review to these two bozos on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It definitely helps us reach our audience.
Yes.
And read the next book. I think that's it.
That's it.
Thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Have a wonderful and happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.